Good morning. It's jobs report Friday. So we got like 1 minute to go. Which way do you think it's
Yeah.
going to go, Tracker?
Oh my gosh. Well, jobs report. I can tell you what I hope for, but I can't tell you which way it's going to go. It just feels
Yeah,
like
that's
everything's been pushed down and pushed down and pushed down and pushed down.
yeah.
I almost feel like it doesn't
Well,
matter what the jobs report is going to say. They'll just say, like, once it's out, that'll be enough of a catalyst to say, okay, now we can get some relief. They'll just say, oh, it's already been priced in, or, oh, this is really good, so it'll go up.
yeah. I mean, I could still see a case for more down for both the QQQ SPY though, especially SPY. How this 1.618 and the baseline is kind of breaking a little bit.
Oh,
So
yeah.
maybe 561 could be the target. I don't know. That will be interesting to see. We'll see. It's about
There is,
10 seconds, huh?
oh, man, Tesla made a new lower low in pre market than
Yeah, I
yesterday.
saw that too. And
So
it's
I've got
out
this,
and it's going down.
yeah.
Oh, up, up. Oh, it's
What
up three
Tesla's going
bucks,
up?
four,
Yep.
$5 pre-market. Oh,
Well,
oh,
let's see.
three.
Let's see if we can.
Yeah.
It's into the 15-minute cloud. Oh, that's the bottom of the 15-minute Tesla cloud,
Yeah.
right there at 263, and it's going back down again. So now it's stuck between the cloud and the. You can't see it on my chart because I haven't turned on my thing
You
yet.
haven't shared anything. Yeah, it's
Yeah, there you go.
who knows? Like so for me, I'll just do the indices real quick. To have a bullish close for this Friday, it would be above this baseline right here, 576.60. So that'll be the target for SPY to get back above. If it doesn't close above that, then the target could still be just 561 down here, right? So I don't know if I always buy pre-market. Well, I mean, it could just be lying to us, and then perhaps it could be a fake out. So yeah, 576.60 is really the point to watch for SPY and the QQQ. It's going to be the 595, 495.32. That's going to be the point to try to close above for today, because if not, like it's going to be a loss of momentum, and it could just keep gravitating lower. So right now, it's kind of still stuck below, and the IWM. Not really worried about the IWM at all because the monthly baseline was hit perfectly, 203, and also that was the 50% fib too. So with that said, yeah, I mean this is looking like IWM could be in a bottoming process already, but QQQ and SPY, if they don't close above some levels today, then I think they're gonna just continue to drift lower. So today is the day to do it. And we can see that they are doing pretty well pre-market, and it is getting to those numbers pre-market. So let's see if that can hold throughout the day. So you want to just take a look at Tesla real quick, Tracker,
Sure.
if
If you
you
pull
want.
up my 15-minute Tesla chart, you can see that Tesla price is going into this 15-minute cloud. It got above the baseline. It didn't even test all the way back to the baseline after the jobs report came out. So here we are. Oh, it's still resistance. I'd like to see it get into the cloud because what we really want to see. Remember this wick here where it looked like it hit this price and it like ran right up there to the baseline and then immediately came back off. Now it's above that baseline, but we still want to see a higher high than 266. And if you look over here, well, that'll get out of the top of this cloud pretty soon. What I really like to do is look at the 8-hour clouds. And, well, look, it's way here, back to 300. So, if this was the bottom, it's going to try to make a run to get back into this cloud. And then even just for the month of March, the monthly pivot is way up here, still at 405. So if this is like a day instead of a month, I often look for prices to gravitate back towards their pivot. So for the month of March, it really should seem to be making its way back towards 405 eventually. I mean, during the next 3 weeks. So we'll see. I got these three red lines on here. Let's see, on the weekly chart. I just kind of went back and I looked to try to see what kind of support there could possibly be looking at. And you see it's just like a band of, like, here's way back in 2021 to 2022. Here's where it hit that 1450 for the first time. And you can see it kind of like more botsued through here, through this zone, wicked through the zone, climbed through it, wicked through it, lost it. I mean, this has clearly been an important zone. I just never thought we'd go 415. I'm sorry, the 414.50 high. We'd stay above it. Did that not happen? So here we are again. If you follow Elliott wave theory, a lot of times when you see a big run up like this and then a big run right back, it usually means it's winding up. It's coiling back to just toss this thing way up. So that's what I'm looking for. People have been asking me, do I still think it could reach $711 by this July, mid-July, July 18th? I think it still could if the price reaction going back up is as extreme as the pressure going down. So that's still not. I'm still not ruling it out yet. This this doesn't really the timeline because it would have to be a lot more steep going back up than what these lines show. That's kind of it. Let's look at this 15-minute chart one more time. Oh no, we're back down to the Ichimoku baseline again. Look at that. So we're caught between the baseline and the cloud, and it's just gonna, they got the what is it? So this was looking at here. It is. The max pain for day is down to 275 now after yesterday's action. They just kept buying more and more puts or retail. Anyway, they've got it to 275, so it doesn't have to go very far. Let's still take it to the daily, above the daily S1 today. Let's see. Non-Tesla related news. There are rumors today that the S&P might have some new stocks for inclusion into the S&P, and such stocks rumored include Robinhood, Coinbase, AppLovin, and the Trade Desk. Once again, I think the Trade Desk comes up about every single time now, and they still haven't made it in yet. They're kind of overdue.
Yeah.
So that one could be good for Robinhood, Coinbase, AppLovin, or the Trade Desk if they do announce that they're included in the S&P 500, because that means that larger funds may have to buy more shares to, they'll have to rebalance their portfolios to add the new additions to the S&P.
All right. So with that said, yeah, we'll just wait till the weekly candle close, and with that, I think perhaps some things could still close below resistance, and we all know what that means. We've seen it with Tesla. If things do close below reason or close below support, then things could still drift lower. So I think it's really important to watch how things close the week today, not just how things are pre-market or how they open, just how they close. Because going back to my SPY here, yeah, it's still below the baseline, and basically it has not closed a weekly candle below that baseline. Even this one, August 5th, did not close below it, right? It opened below, but it closed back above it right here. So the last time it closed below was basically October 2023. So it kind of is a big deal if it does not close back above. So 576.60, guys, that's the point to watch, or else it's probably going to the 560s regardless. So can't be too optimistic just yet. Just got to wait for confirmation. And I saw that interesting comment about how we were so bullish and predictive the whole time and we lost that guy money. Well, we're following the trends here, and we're not following the narratives there. And it sounds like that person bought the top and not consistently buying some support zones and accumulating where you should. Right? Don't accumulate too high, just accumulate on the way down in small positions, and then you'll be okay. It's not about day trading, it's about accumulating wealth. And with that said, I see a request there for RDW Redwire. And for Redwire,
sake, don't trade on margin. Stay away from trading on margin, because that gives your brokerage the power to decide when they're going to sell your positions. And if we get a downturn like this, you don't want someone else deciding to pull the trigger at the absolute worst time. Sorry. Go
Yeah.
ahead with your Redwire.
Well, no, I just see that everybody jumps on the bear train too easily, and I don't think I think you just got to look at the market as a whole, not as a day to day basis. And as a whole, what Kat and I do, and what Tracker does too, is like we basically look at things as a trend of where the direction is going. We don't really day trade, or I don't at least. So basically, you're saying it's an echo chamber there, Mitso. Well, that's because the data that we're seeing is bullish overall. It's not a bearish market overall. And the trend is still your friend because the trend is still higher. So it's higher highs and higher lows. That's the definition of a market structure. And with that said, nothing is broken. And because nothing is broken, I will still keep accumulating while there's fear out there because that is how you accumulate wealth. You buy when there's panic and you sell when there's euphoria. So if people don't understand that, then they are just tourists, and they, like Kat was saying last night on X, then they just easily get swayed by the day-to-day action, and they get out of the market super fast because they just try to make a bunch of money super quickly, and they get burned. So that's not really the way to do it. But when I look at this chart here, red wire, we can see that the price is maybe gravitating now towards the 786, right? See, this is an example of what I mean by confirmation. So if you were to ask me this chart last week on the weekly candle close, I would say it closed below the baseline and it wants to go lower. That's exactly what I would say. And that's exactly what it did. So this is why I wait for confirmation. And now we'll see where it closes this week. If it closes below 1304, then guess where it's probably going to go? It's probably going to go to the 786, the 1034. It's all about week per week. But is this chart bearish? Even though it's down 3 straight weeks, 24%, 22%, 11%, is this chart bearish? The answer is no, it's not, because of market structure. And it's also going back to a previous resistance, flipping to support. So even if it did go down to the 10s or a little bit below, that is just a normal reaction because it had a massive move to the upside. So this happens over and over again in all stocks and all markets, where if there's a massive upside, there is a potential for a massive downside, but that is not a bearish thing. That is just volatility, and volatility creates wealth. So with that, Tracker.
Let's see. I've got the red wire chart still drawn from. I guess I did this last or earlier this week. Uh, so then basically all of this is 5 waves up. Let me see. Yeah, I just didn't change this here. Skipping to the end, this should take us to 3541. Just if it just gets the wave 3, subwave 1 up, that should probably take us to, if we're conservative, about 1795 next. So it'll probably want to bounce to 1795. That could come all the way back to 1383, 2462, 1952, and then the 2236 up here at 3541. So that's my bullish prediction for RDW if it holds 1128 as the bottom. There's a chance it could just do a 382236, but then the rest of it stays the same. Sometimes it just gets wound up and it just launches. But, so look for 1540 first. If it goes over 1540, watch to see if it goes to 1795 or not. What else do we have here? Would you buy MicroStrategy or a coin? I have the last of my cash to deploy, or just wait a bit. You could wait for confirmation. Like, so here, let me show you MicroStrategy's chart. My chart for MicroStrategy. Come on, here we go. It looks like a good solid bottom here. But what we won't see, if I take an 8-hour chart, off this bottom at 225, here is a higher low and a higher high and a higher, I'm sorry, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. This looks pretty good. Yeah, I would buy. I put MicroStrategy right here. Coin looks the same way. Actually, coin looks a little less the same way. It only bottomed on Tuesday with one higher high and a higher low, and that's kind of Midland. Again, on this 8 hour chart, if it gets above the Ichimoku baseline here in brown, that's currently about 231, 232. I'd call that more confirmation. And then the whole thing for me, it's definitely in the bullish mode again once it gets over my moving average 75 here in orange, which kind of just follows the Ichimoku clouds. So above the cloud, then you know that it's really the trend is going up.
Yeah, I have a chart too for both coin and MicroStrategy. If you're finished,
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
okay. Yeah, let's just jump in here for Coinbase here. First, I just wanted to show that it's still holding the weekly cloud perfectly. It does kind of look like a tweezer bottom right now, and it has potential to continue to build this base in this zone here, and then try to get back above the arc and go higher. But ultimately, the confirmation here was this weekly candle right here, right? When this started to close below the 786 right here, then yeah, it was obvious it was going to continue lower. So that's why I always wait for confirmation closes. And we can see that now that it's kind of finding a bottoming process, it did hit the 702 perfectly, the 197. So I think this is looking like a bottoming zone now. Something similar to what happened back at the 618, where it went down there and held down there for a while before going back higher. So we could probably just consolidate in this area for a while before breaking back higher as well. But it's still above the weekly cloud. It's still above everything, right? And this chart is not bearish at all, right? And it's just normal to have these 50% drawdowns. We saw it from March to September, right? If you guys can't handle these kind of things, then I think these stocks are not for you, right? And I think Golden Parachute said it right. A lot of retail likes the high beta names, and that's because they love the possibility of getting a lot of money soon, but they cannot handle when things go down. But that is actually what is required for those exponential gains, right? If you don't have the 50% drawdowns, you're not going to get the 200% gains. This is just the reality of the market. So either you ride the volatility or you try to time it perfectly. And usually, when you try to time it perfectly, you get burned. So the best strategy, in my opinion, is accumulation on the way down. And then when things come back up, you get handsomely rewarded with that. So my goal for Coinbase is essentially just getting back above the 786, the 245. And once that happens, I think things can accelerate quite a bit. So could take some weeks or some months to get back up there. But regardless, I still think this is a great accumulation zone because this is higher highs, higher lows. Market structure is beautiful for the potential to continue higher. And with MicroStrategy, we can go to the NASDAQ here, or yeah, we can see that price is trying to get back above the blue level of the GAN here, which is kind of essential for things to return to normal. And that is great. So that target right there is around current price, 301. So let's see if price can maintain that throughout the week, throughout the day to close the week out strong. And if so, then that 1.272 was the bottom, the 245. 46, and this has the potential to now try to build a base around 300 here and go higher. So good developments for MicroStrategy, but ultimately what I want to see is above 340 for any kind of explosion. So until then, it's just going to be stuck in a range, maybe just building a nice foundation in this zone here before ready to go higher. All right.
Here's a stock I'm bearish on. It's a Visa. Visa has already made from the pandemic low here as your wave one, wave two ending in 2022 at 174.60. It's already made it up to the 1618. It basically went 382, 236, 100%, 618. This is kind of crazy. But then to the 1618. And now it looks like it wants to do an ABC down. So I would look forward to at least come back to this baseline, maybe even the moving average 75 down here. So something like, oh, if it goes from here to the wave two bottom, here we go. Wow, even if it stays like a bullish drawdown, would take it to 270. That's nuts. There you go. Something like that. which is kind of odd because overall, Visa just tends to go up over time, except for the financial crisis, right? That was the bottom. I remember wanting to be able to buy a Visa for $4.
Oh yeah.
That's why doesn't it show it on here? Anyway, I remember when Visa was $4 in 2008. Oh man. Anyway,
Those were the times. I see
those
a
are
comment
times.
from Kevin. You guys going to talk your followers off the plank for this whole bear market? Well, it's not a bear market. That is
Yeah,
one thing, right? This is
right.
a still a bull market, and yes, people are like, "Oh, but it's down over 10% or whatever. This is bear market." Well, this is just called volatility, guys, and this is actually the name of the game. And I think volatility is just going to get worse and worse the more AI advances and stuff like that, because it's just going to get smarter and smarter. So this is the game. You're going to have huge ups, huge downs, and if you are trying to time it, most people are going to get burned. But if you play it smart and you play for the future in the long game, then you'll most likely be profitable. So this is not a bear market. The SBY is telling us that, and the QQQ, because look at this trend. Does this trend look anything like this right here? Collapsing underneath everything and going lower. No, it's not. Right. Even back in 2022, guys, the key to maintaining the bull market was staying above the cloud. Right. And once it started getting into the cloud, basically back in April of 2022, that was really the warning signs that okay, this is probably going a lot lower. We're not even close to that with the SPY, right? This is still a bull market. We're still well above the weekly cloud, even still trying to battle the baseline, and it still has potential to close above it today. So for people that are saying it's a bear market out there, they're just fear mongering and they are panicking, or maybe they just bought really too high and things are going much lower now because they bought too high. But either way, going back to 561, even for the SPY, it would be a previous resistance back in August, back in July, flip to a support. So is that a bear market? No, that's just a normal back test after it spent many months up top here, trying to make people buy so they can sell their shares and make it go lower so you can sell your shares and they'll buy it back from you. This is basically the name of the game for institutions and retail. They panic at support and they have euphoria at resistance zones. So, with that said, it's not a bear market. This is still very bullish. And you have to think about it in the long term, because if you think about it too short term, you're going to get washed out of this market.
Yeah, and no matter where you bought, like if your position's in the red, as long as you're in shares or even if you're in a leveraged product, but as long as you didn't buy on margin and you control when you get to sell, just hold through the pain. Hold on because it it always gets better from here. Once it this bottoms, like who knows? Like a month from now, we'll just be saying, "Wow, remember when we were all down like 40% or whatever?"
Yeah.
And now we're up like 40%. It's just this is the part where you just have to like, this is where you earn your grit as a trader.
Yeah.
It's not how quickly you can deploy when things are looking good. It's how long can you hold on when things look bad.
Yeah, and I see Kevin
You just
saying
have to have
bear market is when the top is in. The top is in. That means we're in a bear market. So, by that definition, that you're a hindsight trader. You're trading in hindsight because the top was in a week ago. Now we're in a bear market, and then you'll never catch a break. If you have that mentality, you'll never catch a break. You'll never buy support. You'll always be chasing because you're like, the top's not in, so I can still buy. I can still buy. The top's not in, but that's how you get sucked into it. But is like Palantir, is this a bear market? No, it's not. It's a normal retrace of right now the 1.272. So for people to say Palantir is in a bear market, that's just naive because it had a massive move. And of course, if it has a massive move up, a big retrace back down is typically normal. So people that think that a top marks a bear market, then that means you're always chasing the top. That means you're always buying higher and higher and higher, and you're going to get trapped. So with that mentality, it's hindsight trading, in my opinion, because you cannot trade that way because you'll get trapped all the time.
yeah.
Yeah, I going parachute. I try to talk about the underlying stocks all the time. I don't really for this show. I rarely even talk about TSLL or ConL or MSTU because it's better to just to chart the regular assets, in my opinion. Because of course, if MicroStrategy goes up, MSTX is going to go up, right? If it goes down, MSTX is going to go down. So yeah, people that if you can't even handle MicroStrategy going up and down with that volatility, then definitely do not get into the MSTXs or MSTUs because that is pretty insane. That's pretty crazy. You got to be able to handle a lot of volatility, which I can, because I've been doing this a long time, and I've come to realize that these big downtimes are really how the best way to accumulate wealth for the upside, especially in a bull market, because I've experienced myself many times, right? With leverage ETFs, with crypto, with whatever. Right.
Yeah, these are the times of the greatest opportunity.
Yeah.
It's just, it hurts if we didn't hold enough cash on
Yeah,
hand.
that's the thing. And most people don't because they buy way too big, way too soon, and they buy the top because a lot of the mentality is like, oh, it's not a top yet, so it can keep going higher. And if by that mentality, that means you're always going to be chasing higher highs, and chasing higher highs is exactly how people get stuck in buying near the all time highs.
Yeah. So talking about Bitcoin, I see a question about that. That's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
go ahead.
Bitcoin here on my weekly chart, you can see just from the Ichimoku indicators alone, it's sailing over the weekly Ichimoku cloud. It's definitely bullish. Uh, we lost the conversion line for a little bit, but look, it just wicked through the baseline and then right back up to the conversion line, and then overnight it touched the baseline. It wicked through just a tiny bit, and but so we're still back over the monthly pivot of 88,424. Um, all this volatility. I look at this. These are the last throws of it trying to grab all the last bit of liquidity here before they pump up and go higher. Like these are like the last steps that they do before they, as soon as they get a new higher high, and then everyone starts buying in, and it really kicks in when it starts to get crazy. But my Bitcoin target is 179,832 for my linear scale cycle here. So that's what I'm looking for, and XRP is sort of falling the same way. Matt can talk about that. But yeah, this is XRP. Well, why don't you talk about XRP, Matt? Because the same thing. It just looks like it's ready to. It's trying to like dip down, catch the last few dregs of people who will sell to the market makers, and then they want to take it up.
Yeah. So let me go back to my screen here. Just with Bitcoin first. Um,
Yeah.
so I see that question about our thoughts on the news last night. Why did everything crypto dump? Because it was at resistance, right? The reason why it was everything dumped, you can just look at the daily chart here, and the daily chart explains exactly what happened with Bitcoin. So it was going up and up and up and up and up and up, and then before the news came out, it was just hovering right around this 1.414, 91,158, and it just dumped, right? So that's why I'm saying charts first, and then the narratives and the news catch up. So it was just right at resistance right when the news came out. So it was an easy dump right back down to support zones, an easy dump, right? And you can see that with this daily candle too. It just went right up to the 91,000 and basically went right through the 45-degree angle, almost even back down to the 83,000. So for Kevin saying that we don't look at indicators, I think he doesn't watch the show that much because that's all I do, look at indicators. And he was saying in August it didn't make a lower low. Well, neither is it right now, right? This is not making a lower low from any of these right here. So yeah, this is what happened in August for the SPY or the QQQ, right? It didn't make a lower low from here, and neither is this. It's not making a lower low from these high time frame perspectives too. So for that, it just doesn't make any sense what he's saying. So, anyways, Kevin probably doesn't watch the show that much. That is fine. But with that said, this is why price went down to 90 or went down because it hit resistance right at the announcement. You can clearly see it too. Look at that support, support, support. went back up, rejected. Oh, that's easy for the programs to just send it lower and make all those leverage longs get ejected from the system. So, with that said, now it has potential to stabilize. And I think we're going to just look at this 45-degree angle here, right around 87,000, just continue to build a base on top of that. Then I think it'll eventually break back above this 91,000. And yeah, for XRP, there's really no change for XRP at all. We can see that XRP is still building a base on top of the 225, and that's all that matters, right? That's it. Just keep staying above that. Staying above the conversion line would be good too, the 2.58, but it's not a requirement, right? It's just would be getting more momentum back if it stayed above it consistently. So we'll just watch those levels, 258, 225. That's it. Nothing's changed. It's just continuously building the base, getting closer and closer to the weekly cloud before it's really ready to go higher. So things are just in the normal range, and people get too excited at resistance and too depressed at support. And this will never change because people are emotional. And right now, things are just in a range. So we got to just let things play out as they should. And nothing is bearish about any of these charts that I've shown. Even Tesla, nothing's really bearish about Tesla. It's just going deeper and deeper into support. And that is still a higher low from before. So Tesla is still fine as well. So with that said, Tracker, anything else you want to add?
No, just watch out for the SPY, the S&P inclusion announcement, and we'll see how it goes. I think they usually do. They do that at the after the end of the trading day, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, we'll watch Coinbase. We'll watch that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Back to Tesla on the 15-minute chart here. Yeah. Yep, we're in this zone. Oh man, I don't know. Maybe it's going to go to this 256.74. So far for Tesla, it's just kind of a blow off top, push back down, can't make it higher, blow off top. Still, I don't know. I've got these three lines left: 256.74 and 252.01, which again I did by just doing a look back through the whole Tesla chart. So we're very close. Either if this isn't, yesterday I thought if this is the bottom, if this isn't the bottom, we're very close. And this seems to be the bottom everyone's calling for, 250 by a loud bearish consensus. So that's all I got to say. Hang in there. Don't capitulate.
Yeah, and
when you sell at the bottom and it takes off, that's the worst. That's even worse than just selling at a loss. Is selling at a loss and then suddenly seeing everything recover. Go ahead.
Yeah, and with that said, with my Tesla chart here, I did mention this before, even on last week, on the weekly update. If you go back to watch my video, I said because of this close right here, this 295 closing below it, it puts the potential to get to 258. Right, I did say that on last week. You guys can go back and watch it on the video. You guys think that I always, it's going higher, higher, higher. But no, I issue caution when I have confirmation of closes. And I did that for the past few weeks. It closed below this 347. I said, okay, 295 is possible. And once it closed below 295, I said, okay, that leaves 258 possible. And that's exactly where it is pre-market. And look at 258, guys. This is actually pretty good, right? A pretty decent resistance, and now it's flipping to a support, right? A potential support. And could it wick through there and go to the low 250s or 240s? Sure, it could. And the reason why is because of the moving averages, guys. Let's not forget about the 100 and 200 down there as well, right? So testing that would be possible. So is this a bearish situation? Short term, okay, yeah. If you're a trader in and out and you are getting destroyed because you're hoping for quick gains, then yeah, this is a short-term bearish. But high time frame, this is normal because it had a massive move and it's just retracing that move and reverting back to the mean. That's all it's doing, right? And so if you can't handle that, then I think Tesla is probably not for you. But this is a perfect case of something that broke out massively and is retracing massively, which actually kind of means that I think the future could be even more explosive because of this volatility, right? This kind of volatility is really necessary for exponential gains. And this is why I keep accumulating, because I can see that it's still nicely above the cloud, nicely above everything here. It's still higher lows from here, and it looks beautiful. So, with that said, we can see that uh, Kevin was also saying that there was a lower low than January weekly. Yeah, on the short time frame, right? Right here, I can see that right here for the QQQ shorter time frame. But guess what? Guess what it's doing on the monthly time frame, guys? It's finding its first higher low basically in a long time, and it has not even touched the weekly or the monthly conversion line. So, if you zoom out on the high time frame, it hasn't even tried to make a lower low just yet. So this is still very, very bullish, regardless if it goes down a little more. Same with the SPY, same with the QQQ, IWM, it's still very bullish. But it's all about perspective. If your time frame is too short, maybe you don't have any patience, then yeah, this is not going to work out for you. But for me, it's been working out for me well for me for many, many years, because I have the mindset of wealth creates it takes time. Wealth takes time to accumulate. So with that said, I think things are still okay. Even Tesla, even yes, the QQQ, SPY, even Bitcoin, everything, right? But if you guys don't believe it, then by all means, keep buying your puts, because buying puts at support, you pay a high premium, and it's not really in your favor. The risk reward is not in your favor, but you guys do you. Go
Yep,
ahead,
yep, yep.
Tracker. Anything else?
Nope, that's it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me here on this Friday.
Yeah, we got a lot of
Let's
people
look
bearish
forward
here.
to.
That makes me extremely more bullish for
We
the future.
do.
So it's just people are
There's no way
emotional out there.
Tesla's going to 180. Yeah.
All right.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you cut out.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Yeah. No, like yeah, people that hate it at 250 are the ones that'll be chasing it later on in the future anyways. So with that said, guys, we'll see you Monday, I guess. And let's watch for those
Yep, Monday.
we'll watch for those weekly candle closes.
Yep, keep your chin up. It does get better. These are just this is the shakeout period. It's been a shakeout period, and they're just really, really pushing hard.
Yep. All right, guys. Take it easy and have a good weekend.
Thanks. You too, Matt.